Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Heath. Welcome back to our channel, Joco Safety Solutions. Um, I had a little something on my mind today that I wanted to talk with you just about shortly, just for a moment. And it's about forklift certifications. And I would love your feedback on this. I would love to see some comments. So I would love to see people rein in on this conversation, if you will, because when it comes to forklift certifications, okay, what does OSHA says that you have to do in order to be certified? Well, if you look up OSHA regulations, CFR 1910.178, which is the regulations identification number, they actually go through and tell you that you have to have formal training, you have to have classroom lecture, blah, blah, blah. And then they go into practical evaluations. And so I get to looking up. Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of controversy over this particular topic, but I'd love to read your comments. So then I get into what does it take to actually be a trainer. And OSHA talks about being a trainer, which I'm a trainer with Joco Safety Solutions, that you have to have the knowledge and the expertise of the equipment that you're training on, which is typical, and that you need to be able to do that formal lecture, be a good or acceptable instructor, and you can relay that information. And then you have to do the practical evaluation piece of it. And that's evaluating the person or persons on the forklift or piece of equipment that they will be operating. Now, that don't necessarily mean that particular piece of equipment, but one that meets within the 7 classifications that they will be operating. In other words, if they're running a forklift that is a propane forklift LP, or if they're running a diesel, or if they're running an electric forklift, there's a difference there, and you need to train that person on the hazards associated with it, how to operate it, blah blah blah. So it gets into a lot. But then looking at online, this is where I have a problem. And this is where I would like your feedback. Online certifications. What do online certifications, how do I get it? There's one company I'm looking at here. I'm not going to show you the screen because it actually has their name on it. And they say you can get your certification in 1 hour. You can get your certification in 1 hour. So I go to clicking through some of the information, and it has kind of like a Q&A session on here. And it says, can I apply for a job with this certification? It says, absolutely. The certification you receive from us is exactly what employers are looking for. Make sure you update your resume after you complete the course. Is this course the same as in-person class? Now, this is where I have a problem. It says, quote, yes, our courses teaches the same material as in-person class, but for a fraction of the cost. And you don't have to give up your entire day. The certification you get from us will be the same as you get from an in-person class, unquote. Okay, I have a problem with that. The next question is hands-on training required? Now, the Department of Labor, OSHA, says in 178 under training, yes, evaluation, hands-on is required. Whether you are a new operator and you're getting your certification for the first time, or you are renewing for your 3-year, hands-on is required. That's that evaluation piece of it. Not the formal practical piece of it, but the evaluation of that operator on that piece of equipment. And it says here, again, is hands-on training required? Quote, after you complete our online course, your employer will provide hands-on training to you on the equipment you will be operating. This is a class whether you are certifying for the first time or are renewing your certification. So, what is the 1 hour teaching you? They're going through the not the practical, but the formal piece of here is the material. Go through the material and we'll send you a card. But that does not account for the evaluation piece that the employer is going to have to do. And the employer has to have someone that is qualified, or either that or an expertise in the piece of equipment that the employee will be operating. One of the two, but more qualified to go through that piece of equipment and train that employee on that for the evaluation piece. That is all in one nutshell. It has to be, you have to have everything to have your certification. And if that one piece is left out, why am I paying this online company to do it? Why can't my employer just have someone come in and do the training and provide them all of that in one nutshell? Let me ask you this. Which do you get the most out of? Do you get the most out of listening to online and going through their little course for 1 hour or less, okay? Or do you get more out of actually listening to an instructor that you can ask questions back to and talk it through and get good answers to your questions? Now, that don't mean I can answer everything, but we can find it out together if we don't. But having something online, well, back up. Which do you think is better? What do you get the most out of? Let me just ask that. The next question, should I take this certification now if I'm looking for a forklift operator job? So they're saying, okay, I don't have a job yet. There's nobody going to do the evaluations for me right now, or can't, but I'm looking for an operator job. I want to get my certification card. And then once I get my card, I'm gonna go look me a job as an operator. So what do they say? Quote, yes. That way you can say you've received your certification already. When you do land a new job, they will evaluate you operating a forklift and then sign the back of your certification. So the employer is going to sign the card stating that you have been trained. Are they going to take on that liability as well? That you have been trained per OSHA standards or CSA standards? That's a good question. It's something to ask the company. I have a problem with this. I would love your feedback. Give me some feedback on this as to what you feel, okay? Again, this is Tim Heath with Joko Safety Solutions. Again, I would love to hear your feedback on this. If you've not been here before, reach down and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to our channel, because I would just like to have the conversations. Thank you. Talk to you later. Stay safe.